We are on what we call the Candle Farm Restoration Site. It's in Wahkiakum County, Washington. Candle Farm site is about 163 acres. We are just 3 miles up from the Columbia River estuary along the Grays River. The Grays River is one of the largest Washington tributaries before the Pacific Ocean on the Columbia River. The turn of the last century, the Candle Farm was settled by the Candle family. And Ted and John and other siblings moved here with their parents, and they cleared this 163 acres by hand. And if you've ever been in a spruce swamp and imagined what that is like to do by hand, it's an awesome task. The Grays River is one of the more important watersheds for conservation for a variety of reasons. One main reason is why we're here, which is salmon recovery. There's the whole variety of salmon species that utilize the Grays River for spawning, rearing, and migration. They'll feed, they'll get bigger, they'll get stronger, and then they'll make the transition and go to the ocean. And the bigger and stronger the fish is when it hits the ocean, the more likely it is to come back.
I've been studying Sitka spruce swamps since 2004. We're very fortunate here in the Pacific Northwest that we have any coastal temperate forest left at all. In most of the temperate zone throughout the world, this type of forest has been eradicated. The Oregon Natural Heritage Program estimated the historical extent of Sitka spruce swamps in Washington back in 1992, and they estimated that there were 12,500 acres historically of this type of habitat. In 1992, they estimated that there were 700 acres remaining, and the Columbia Land Trust has protected a substantial portion of that acreage. We see in the Sitka spruce swamp a large number of habitat niches that can support birds and mammals. Frankly, it's very difficult to move around in a Sitka spruce swamp. It's not a hospitable habitat for humans. Generally speaking, human activities have the effect of simplifying natural ecosystems. If you look at Candle Farm, you'll see that the stumps have been removed, the land has been flattened by the compression of cows grazing on it over the years and grading. Whereas in the swamp, you see this vertical complexity with stumps and logs and tall trees and short trees and shrubs and herbs and channels, little rivulets with sluice edge in them. It's going to be a slow process restoring Sitka spruce swamps. And I guess in a way it's like a puzzle. We're trying to put together the pieces of the puzzle well enough to understand how to create the conditions necessary for this type of ecosystem to grow again in the future.
We are not taking a minimalist approach to the restoration. We are getting in, we are getting dirty. We are constructing over 3 miles of tidal channels ranging in size from almost 140 feet in width across the top of bank down to 8-10 feet across. So big channels, small channels. All of that material that's being excavated is being used to restore the vertical complexity on the floodplain. So we are using that material and contouring it back onto the floodplain so that it is not a nice level farm field anymore. It is going to be an up and down environment to the extent that we can make it high enough that we can regrow spruce back on the landscape and low enough that we will still get that complex native emergent vegetation. Working with our contractors, they developed technology that is available nowhere else. These amphibious excavators of a particular design that really made this project possible.
BCI has always been committed to innovation in protecting the environment and construction techniques in the wetland environments. So what we did was we went around the world and researched machines that were available. We visited facilities manufacturing these amphibious undercarriages. We visited designers of these. We found unwillingness to change their designs to match the specifics of the sites we were working at. We found difficulties with them meeting our schedules and all types of things of that nature. So we solved this by finding a company that would work with us to come up with a design that works specifically for this project and for other projects of this nature. And the result is there's no other machine like it in the world. This is a 110,000-pound machine. It floats. This machine, in 5 days, with the help of the other machine, moved 60,000 yards of material and built 1,300 feet of main channel up to 120 feet wide in a swamp that just doesn't happen. Everybody is committed to innovation on this job. Partnering with Columbia Land Trust, Natural Systems Design, and Cardinal Entrix with some fantastic engineers and project managers, We have meetings on a regular basis where the subject is, how can we all do this better? How can we do things faster? How can we protect the environment better? It's a fantastic team. This is definitely setting a new standard for how this work should be done.
So one day where we are standing, this is going to be a habitat mound next to a little stream connected to a larger channel, and there should be happy salmon and lots of wildlife and vegetation to shade the area and create a great habitat for this area.
Our final step in this big, long, complicated project is to actually connect the site to the Grays River and to the tide. We staged with a contractor all of our equipment, 2 machines working from both sides. They're getting closer and closer and closer, and then finally the word comes over the radio, we gotta go. And they both dug into the last bit of levee and started pulling it out, and as soon as the shovel started coming out, water started pouring in. And so almost immediately you get to watch over a 6-hour period water rise 8 or 10 feet and fill your 3 miles of channel and spread out over the floodplain and give you a picture of what it's going to do in the future, forever. It's driven by water, fish move in and out with the tides, nutrients, invertebrates, food, prey moves in and out and gets flushed out to the sites that go out to the river. It's a dynamic system that if looking down from the air, you just see this whole area working together. Yeah, I think most people in the Northwest don't realize that we have spruce swamps of this character and nature. We think about the Louisiana swamps, but some of the best, most complex, wonderful swamps are right here, and they serve such an important ecological role and connect to this larger system along the Columbia River that's just incredibly valuable and productive. These projects are complex and they're long-term, so we will be out here for many years, I think, tending to the work that we've started. Conservation's a long game, and all we can do is play our role in it. River projects, you should always go into it with a good, strong dose of humility. You know, we're trying to grow old growth forest, we're trying to create spruce swamp that happens over generations. I won't see the end of it.